Hello, RC here. I got a few, I'm not sure if you can tell by these guys here, but I'm painting them. This is two coats on the head, one coat on the bases there. Just using some gold paint. I saw General Hand Grenade's video on his commanders, and I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like paying shipping, but I have a whole pile of extra dudes on all these guys. And, you know, why not? So this is just two coats, and they look pretty good. Might give them a third coat just to even up the missing brush strokes and whatnot. These are there's a bunch of guys I have on the go. All I'm really doing is using a basic cheapo brush. Super simple. Same paint I use for everything else. All it is acrylic paint, or I think about $1.20 Canadian at a Michael's. It's the same paint I've used on every single thing here. Sometimes I just use a monster brush and just slather it all on there. 2 quick coats, you're done. It's the kind of thing you can do watching a movie in front of the TV or whatever. My fancy palette washes right off into the sink, and then of course a very standard sour cream ½ liter is my water dish that matches the lid. That's my palette. That's it. That's all it takes to do something crazy, and you got some special dudes, right? I mean, like, and don't freak out when you're doing it. Notice the coat number 1 here. You can see all that white and stuff through. That's normal. Paint doesn't cover perfectly in one coat. You want the best results, you get 2 or 3 coats to make that all go away. It's all good. You do one really heavy saturated coat and it won't dry, and you lose all the detail. It's no fun. Anyway, that's just a little thing I'm doing here because I'm in the middle of a game and all by myself here, playing a bunch of stuff, just trying to show off some house rules, and it's difficult to do that when you have other people around because they want to keep the next turn moving, So yeah, I figured, you know what? Nobody's declared war on anybody yet. It's not too late to add some commanders. So yeah, the British is going to be a little hard to find. I tried, like, I got the base and the hats in gold. You can see it, but they kind of blend in with the rest of the British stuff, right? So, but I mean, some of the stuff's pretty sharp. So that on General Hand Grenade's table there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. So there we go. I made myself a bunch of commanders. All I got to do now is print off the rule set, and they're in my game. And I got a cat on my table, trashing some stuff. Here, why don't you come off? And yeah, so there we go. Alright, I'm gonna pick this cat up and stop. So the lighting ain't too great. Now that I got that cat kicked out of here that was wandering around my game, I'm gonna show you really basic acrylic paint. Like I said, this one is a metallic paint, bright gold. I take a little blob and I go tiny little blob. You can use any paintbrush you want. Most hobby stores that sell modeling stuff have these testers paintbrushes. It's synthetic. It's good for either enamel or acrylic. I don't care. I'm using acrylic, so dab of paint, and all you gotta do is just smear it around. It's that hard. Give her a spin. Let's smear some more paint on there. And really, painting is pretty simple. And you'll figure it out when you don't have enough paint on there because you're not leaving any behind. And if you're leaving big streaky spots behind, try some more paint. If that still doesn't work, you're just going to need another coat. There you go. Just like that, it is painted around the edge and on the flat. It's going to need another coat. It's difficult to see that. It's going to need another coat yet. You can still see some white streakiness on the face. But that's okay. It's that easy. One at a time, you're done. That was what, literally seconds? Yeah. So watching TV, you can do a whole pile of them. I just got this set up here so it'd be easier to show a video. Anyway, I'll let you go. And, you know, that paint doesn't go far, but I can probably do about 20 bases or so with a little blob like that. And then by the time I'm done that, it'll start drying up, like these ones here. And when they start drying up, there's no use fighting with half-dry paint, so you just wash it off in the sink. Or use a paper plate and throw it out. I've done that too. But really, less is more when it comes to the palette here. This stuff dries fairly fast. It's a water base, so. And then within probably, by the time I get all these done, these ones are already done a second coat. By the time I finish these ones here and the couple I got there, I can start over again at the beginning and work my way through and do a third coat. So with this paint, there's no real dry time required. Just give yourself a little tester on one of them. If you touch it in a spot and you get any kind of tacky feeling or anything, or paint on your fingers or any of that stuff, wait. If you're not sure, wait half an hour, come back, do it again. That easy. All right, yeah, super cheap. You can buy a 3-pack of these in 3 different styles for like $3 in a hobby store. You can buy a variety pack of the longer bristle stuff, and there you go. These ones work pretty good too. This one, whatever. All I did was pick up some little brushes like this, put some color in there. Look, your units are labeled, right? Same thing, right? Cruisers. Bang. If you can't tell, that's a cruiser across the map because it's got yellow on it. I don't know what else I can do to make it easier for you to find it. And that is all there's to it. Anyway, enjoy, and hopefully that helps you paint some basic stuff. This is really easy. I mean, if you're going to paint the whole guy solid, just use spray paint. I just loop masking tape so it sticks in a big loop. I'll stick it down on a piece of cardboard and I'll stick these guys right on top of it. And then spray it with a spray can from one side and spray it from the other side. Let her dry, real light coats, and then let her dry and do it again an hour later, so if you're using water base. Anyway, leave it there. Okay, and now finally I have 3 different coats on these ones. It's pretty obviously they're in order, but you'll see how the paint streaked really badly on the bottom. That's normal. That's kind of what you're expecting. You're putting a primer coat on there, basically, even if it's already been primed with something else. And that's going to happen. Second coat, it's difficult to see the bottom here, but you can still see a little bit of black on the very bottom of the piece there. It's not perfectly smooth in color. There's still a few little streaky spots, but not nearly as bad. And then this one here, that's got 3 complete coats on it, and there's absolutely no red left. Sometimes you might have to do a 4th coat, or sometimes you can get away with 2 coats. Depends on the paint. Like this one here is pretty good. It just really doesn't want to cover up the lighter colors, like the white and the yellow. It seems to not want to cover those up too well. It's doing a great job on the darker colors. All right, that's that. And then finally, the last and final stage is I use a clear coat. I got one up here. This is the one I use, just because. Here, I'm just going to zoom this back out a bit. It's just a spray can. prefer them when they have a bit of a tip. And all I'm using is Krylon clear finish, non-yellowing. And it'll say somewhere on here, metal, wood, plastic, right? Something that'll be good for plastic. You buy the wrong kind, and the thinners in there, like the true lacquers, some of the thinners will melt plastic if it's straight thinner. So it's good to know. The reason I like using the gloss or the high gloss, I know some people like using a matte because they like the look of that better. I like high gloss because all the hardening agents in these is the higher gloss. The gloss itself is what makes it hard. So if you take, for example, almost any building you're ever in, the doors, the trim, the baseboard, you know, the window frames, that's usually in a harder, higher gloss paint, just because it's more durable and washable. More resistant to dings, dents, wear, tear, and other things. So I figure if I'm going to put all this effort into painting these guys, I might as well make them last. All right. And that's that. I'll leave it there. Bye.